Hey there, we're back, and this is going to be the last section of chapter 1. Woohoo! I know you're excited. I know. Unfortunately, it's kind of a longish section, so I'm sorry to say. So we're going to be here a while. Now, we're just going to kind of skim the surface of some bigger issues. And I guess I should have mentioned that all the way along. Chapter 1 is really heavy on definitions. And they're the kind of definitions that are kind of always floating in the background of everything we do through the course. They're things that are really important, like double blind and bias and sampling error and things like that. But I don't, and your instructor won't talk about them all the time, but they always kind of have to be there. We're always assuming all over the place that we have a random, unbiased sample. But most of the time in real life, that's not actually true, but we're going to pretend that it is. So just keep that in mind. And that's true of the design of experiments. We talked about observational studies and how those can go amiss in the last couple sections. And now here, how can you get the study? How can you get the people to talk to, etc. Now we're going to talk about experiments for just a section here. All right, an experiment is a controlled study that conducted to determine the effect of varying one or more explanatory variables called factors has on a response variable. It's sort of like independent variable and dependent variable in algebra, but not quite the same. Namely, the explanatory is what you mess around with a little bit, and then the response variable is what you're trying to see, does it change? Any combination of the values of the factors is called a treatment. All right. So more definitions. Experimental unit is a person, object, or some other well-defined item upon which the treatment is applied. So I'm thinking of the smoking and lung capacity one we saw many sections ago. The experimental units were the women who were smokers. You were trying to see if smoking, i.e. the explanatory variable, smoking, affected response variable, which was lung capacity. Okay. The control group serves as a baseline treatment that can be used to compare to other treatments. So, for example, we have a group of people who don't smoke, and then we have a group of people that do smoke. All right. So if you're going to do it in a particular way, and one of the best ways is to give the people as placebo. So, for example, they think they're smoking, but what they're smoking in is just, scented vapors and not actually cigarette smoke of any kind. I don't know how they do that, but that's the kind of thing. Smoking's kind of a bad example for that. Another one would be pills. So you have a disease, they'll give the control group some placebos, they'll give the treatment group some treatment pills, they'll look identical and see if there's any difference between the two. Blinding refers to the non-disclosure of treatment. So when you're in a study like this, you don't get to know if you're the one that's getting a placebo or if you're the one that's getting the treatment. A double-blind experiment means not only do you not know, but the researcher who's in contact with you doesn't know either. I mean, obviously somebody's got to know, otherwise it wouldn't be much of an experiment, but the person who actually talks to, the experimental unit doesn't know whether they're getting the drug or the placebo, that kind of thing. I've actually seen also placebo acupuncture treatments where they kind of attach needles to you, but they're actually not puncturing your skin at all. They just look like they are. And so does the person who's getting the fake treatment know that? So they get acupuncture. Do they know it's fake acupuncture or real acupuncture or that kind of thing? All right. I am totally not going to read this to you. So take a moment, pause me, and read it. Take several minutes and pause me and read it. Okay, so this is a real life, very important study that took place in Ypsilanti, Michigan, where they had 123 disadvantaged youths, children, that they randomly selected 58 to go into preschool and 65 to not go into preschool. And then they followed them up and saw, hey, did they have higher pregnancy rates, lower pregnancy rates? Did they have more criminal activity, that kind of thing? So the experimental group units are the 123 disadvantaged children. The control group would be the 65 children who did not go to preschool. Was there placebo or blinding? No, because it's obvious to a child that they were or were not in preschool, right? How do you placebo that? I pretend you're in preschool. No, you're either in preschool or you're not. So there's no placebo and there's no blinding. Obviously, parents know whether their kids are in preschool or not. Okay?